How are we halfway through the year already? Time really does just keep getting faster as we get older. People keep saying time has slowed down again since they turned off the big CERN machine. You know, the one that like splits the atom or some shit, and everyone's got conspiracy theories about it. Well, I don't believe them. I think time is staying just as fast as it was before. So that is some bullshit. Anyway, let's do a mid-year tier rank. I've read so many books for me this year. I know some people have probably read like 100 by now. Okay, stop showing off. I am a slow reader. I kind of read at talking pace. I also don't listen to audiobooks on rapid speed. I listen at the normal speed. Sometimes I'll put them up to 1.2 if it doesn't sound mental and if the reader's like already really slow. Otherwise, I'm just a normal speed gal, okay? What is the rush? Can we all calm down? That being said, I've managed to read 39 books, and historically, I think year one of this channel, I only read 24 books in the whole year, and that was kind of my pace before. Last year, I read 50 books exactly in the year, and now I'm already nearly at 50. So I think we might be able to do like 80 this year, round about that. We shall see. So, yeah, we have a lot to get through. Let's just do it rapid fire. And I'm not going to talk very much about these books. If you don't know what the book is, Google it. The tier rank, I don't know where I'm going to put it on the screen. It's the same tier rank that everyone uses, where you've got S tier, which is like sublime. And then we've got A tier, which is like pretty good, very good. Let's say very good, okay? B tier, good. C is like, yeah, it was alright. Yeah. No complaints. Some complaints, it was alright. Then we've got D, this is like meh, pretty bad, like we're getting below 3 stars to like 2 stars, 2.5. I very rarely rate like 2 or 1 star. If I really don't enjoy something, it's normally like 2.5, 2.75. That's normally because I think the books aren't necessarily bad. I just didn't enjoy them. So yeah, D is that meh. And then F is an F. It's just very bad. Boo. And I don't think I've got any in F. I'll just tell you right now. There's probably not any in F, but I'll keep it in the tier because maybe I'll read an F later in the year. Who knows? So let's go in reading order. The first book I read this year was The Night and the Moth, and I loved this. I started the year so strong. This is definitely a solid A, maybe even an S. I think if you'd asked me back when I read it, I would have said S. But now some time has passed, let's say A slash S. I'm going to have slashes in this because some of them don't fit firmly into a category, and this is an A slash S. And just to caveat before we continue, this isn't like how good the book actually is. This was my enjoyment. So some of them might be low rated. That's not because they're badly written, just because of my enjoyment. And some of them that are like A and S are worse written than the ones at C, but I just had more fun with the A's. And like some lit fics, like they're not meant to be fun. They're meant to be kind of dark and kind of some sort of twisted character study, and that's just inherently less fun. But if I had to rank them like on literary merit, let's say, and skill of the author, the list would completely change. I take some of that into account with my ranking, but it's mostly a snap enjoyment judgment. Okay, number two, I read Pine. This was like a thriller set in Scotland in the Scottish Highlands, and it was an audiobook. And I gave this like a C slash B. Like it was good, but has it been that memorable since I read it in January? No. And did it thrill me that much? Not loads. So it's a C slash B. Then One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. Let's just rank them together because they just mix into one for me. They were a B. They were a solid B. Pretty good, but I liked Night in the Moth a lot more. I'm excited for the sequel of that. Then another audiobook, Starving Saints. This was a B. I liked this one. I was in a real medieval horror focus around January, and I even came up with a whole medieval horror book, which is why I read this. And it was good. It was pretty good. I probably would have enjoyed it more if I'd read it physically rather than as an audiobook, but I don't know. I also think I would have found it slow to get through with physical reading, so I think a B is fair. Then Direbound. I had so much fun with Direbound. That was so thrilling, so good. I think that's a solid A. Not quite S. Not even an A slash S, just an A. Then our Infinite Fates. This was really disappointing because I S tiered like Silver Cloak. Loved Silver Cloak so much. Very excited for the sequel this year. But our Infinite Fates, maybe just because it was compared to Silver Cloak and I was coming down from an S tier, but I've given this a C. I really didn't think this hit for me, and it is young adult, so maybe it's just not for me. But the premise was so good. I had such high hopes, and it fell short. So sorry, but that's a C. Then the Everlasting, this was amazing. Like, and I think everyone thinks it's amazing. It's for good reason. It's well written, the plot's amazing, the characters are complex, the themes, just everything. So this is an A slash S, maybe even an S, maybe more S than A. And that's not for any reason, that's just my gut feeling. And it's not fully an S. It should be. It really is that good, but there's something missing, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. So it's a S slash A. More S than A, but it's not quite all the way in. Then we have Dragon Rider, audiobook, solid B. Really enjoyed it, had a lot of fun. Did it blow my mind? No, but it was really good. Then the discomfort of evening. I've done a D slash C, and like I said at the beginning, it's not because the writing's not good and the quality's not there, because it really is for this book. But this was just so disturbing and made me feel so horrible and left me feeling so horrible at the end that it does have to sit kind of in D. And I'm sorry about that, but that's just how I feel. It's D for disgusting. Then the river has roots. This was a C. Like, it was a nice little story. It was very quick. It was good for getting my reading goal up, and it was like a 3 hour audiobook lesson, which is like going to work and coming home again and then going to work once. That's it. It was done so quickly. But yeah, it was fine. I think it was well written and stuff. Like, it was good, but for me, it's just a C. Like, it was short. It didn't impact me that much. Will I listen to it again? No. Sorry. Then We Love You, Bunny. Bunny would have been like A or A slash S. Love Bunny so much. And I really loved elements of We Love You, Bunny, but it went on too long. The Eris sections, they went on way too long, and this had no business being as long as it did. So this is a B slash C. Probably like B for the bunnies section and C for the Eris sections. Then When the Moon Hatched, I've given this a C. Um, since writing out this list yesterday, I'm like, oh, maybe it's a B, maybe it's a B slash C. So we'll put it somewhere in there with lots of others. I thought this was fine. I quite liked the world, but again, it's not left much impact on me. I've got the sequel. Can I be arsed to read it? To be honest, no. So I'm not really missing the world much, but I'm sure if I read the sequel, I'll probably like it and have some fun. But like, it wasn't the most fun romantasy I've ever read. I was like clock watching a bit, going, okay, when can we move on to the next book? Because it probably could have been shorter. There were good sections, and then there were sections where I'm just like, what happened? What even happened in that book? So C, C slash B. Then Wuthering Heights. Obviously, I did the audiobook of this because the film came out. Loved the film, had so much fun with the film, and really enjoyed the book as well. It's very different from what I normally read. It's a classic, it's very old. The audiobook really helped with my enjoyment, and I think knowing some of the story from the movie also helped. So I gave this a B. A classic like that, it's probably not going to be A or S tier for me just because it is so old and so different, but it was still really good. And obviously, in terms of like cultural impact and stuff, it's like an A or an S, but for me, it's a B. Then We Are All Ghosts in the Forest, which I read as part of the End of the World book club, where you open little end of the world style gifts during reading. I lied when I said there was no Fs earlier. This was a D slash F. It's only a D slash F because I just feel too bad to put it in F because is it that bad? Probably not, but did I hate it? Like, if I'm really honest, did I hate it? And like, oh, did it fucking drag? Yes. This book dragged. I could barely absorb it. For some reason, like, The writing style did not hit at all. I was so bored for most of it. So it's kind of an F, a D/F to be kind. But it was more than meh. It was like bad. And I feel bad for like the End of the World reading club because I think that's such a cool concept and I would like to try one again. I'm sure there's like lots of books as part of the club that are really good and just not this one. Then I read Daggermouth. This is a really similar premise to the book I've written, and that's why I read it. Thought it would make a good comp title. Plus, it's dystopian. I love dystopian and romance. It's really popular. It's really huge. So, but for me, this was a B. I know lots of people love it, and this would be A or S for most people. But the dystopian elements were too thin for me. Did I have fun? I had fun, but for dystopian, even dystopian romance, I want some more substance, more political substance, and this just didn't deliver that, so it's a B. Then When in Rome, this was such a cute little romance, read it as part of book club, did it as an audiobook, which was cool, it was well read, two different perspectives. This was a B. It was just good. It was really nice. Had fun. Did it rock my world? No. But did it have any problems? No. It was a pretty good, solid romance. Then Ring Shout did this as an audiobook. Audiobook was amazing, so well performed. I think there was good singing and music in it, if I remember correctly. Loved it. This was an A tier. Loved all the horror elements, loved the historical elements. Yeah, it was a solid A. And if you liked Sinners, you should read it because very similar vibe. Then I read Before and After. This is S tier. And I don't know many other people that would put this in S tier because there's some quite triggering topics in here about fatness and you've got this obese man, very, very morbidly obese man in the apocalypse trying to survive. Were there some problems with it? Yes, but this was an S tier for me because I've never cared about a character and his dog so much, and I cried at multiple points. It floored me. I did it as an audiobook, and I think it just took me by surprise. I expected to like it, obviously, because that's why I bought it, but I didn't expect it to blow me away like it did, and it really did. So this is comfortably S tier. And then the sequel, Flesh and Blood, this is A. Wasn't quite as good, but it's still the characters that we love. It's still the same world. So I can't rate it lower than an A if I rated the first one S. But was it as good as the first? No, the first was amazing. Then I read Conform. This also has a similar premise to my own novel and could be a bit of a comp title. It's dystopian romance. It's an arranged marriage for the purpose of procreation, and this wacky dystopian setting that's a bit like the capital in the Hunger Games. I give this an A/B. I think I enjoyed it a lot more than Daggermouth. Like, it's very young adult coded and it's very much a copy of like Delirium and Uglies and Hunger Games. But I had so much fun. And like, yes, the dystopian elements were thin, they were definitely thin. Maybe not quite as thin as Daggermouth. It was different to Daggermouth, so difficult to compare them. But it was still pretty thin. So I'm not saying it's the best dystopian in the world. There's also quite a lot of problems with it, right? And you could absolutely roast this book, but I'm not gonna. I had so much fun. I enjoyed it. A/B. Probably A for enjoyment. I'm just doing the /B because of its faults. And then the prequel, Beneath, I gave that a D. And lots of people really liked Beneath, but I just thought it was weak as fuck. Like, it was so much weaker than Conform. I just didn't have the fun that I had with Conform, and there was so much that she could have done. There could have been so many exciting moments in Beneath that, and there just wasn't. Was there some like good topics about trauma and survivor's guilt and things like that? Yes, but the execution did not hit, so that was a D for me. And then Murder Bimbo did this for book club, did it as an audiobook, and this is a C. It got what the book was trying to do, but I just didn't enjoy it. And it's not because the main character's unreliable and not a great person, because there's plenty of books where the main character isn't a good person and I still like the book a lot. This one, I didn't like the main character and I also didn't enjoy the book that much. So it's just a C. Then, and we're nearly done, we're on the second page, we're on book 24. I did Assassin's Apprentice as an audiobook. This is fantasy classic, and I gave it a B. It was good. I enjoyed it. I'm in a rush to read the second one. No, but I probably will. And I know it's beloved. So call it B for beloved by others, and B because I just thought it was, yeah, it was good. Moving on. The Wind Singer audiobook. This is a middle grade book, fantasy, kind of dystopian elements too. One of my favourites from when I was a child, and I did a comfort listen as an audiobook. So this is A. It might even be S tier, like for middle grade, it's S tier. I'll just give it an A because it really was just a fun comfort read for the year. So I don't feel like I can seriously rank it. And I've aged out the demographic, so let's just call it an A. Red Rising. This is an A slash B. Like it was pretty good, and in the beginning I was really invested, but it sort of lost my interest a little bit. I was in a slight reading slump, so maybe the sequels will be A's or S's, but for now we're starting off at an A slash B, and I'm expecting it to climb. Then The Lamb, really dark literary fiction about cannibalism. Gave this a B. It was dark the way Discomfort of Evening was dark, but not to the point where I'm going to rate it really low. Like, I still enjoyed it. It made me feel horrible at points, but not as much as the Discomfort of Evening did, and I thought it was really good, so we're just giving it a B. But is it probably an A for like skill and themes and stuff? Yeah, but we're not talking about that, so B. While Time Remains by Yeonmi Park. We're going to give it a B for biased because it is biased, but I still enjoyed it and I still learned. And she is just talking about her own lived experience as a North Korean defector at the end of the day, so feels weird to rate her down for that. I enjoyed it. I'm aware of the bias. Let's call it a B. Fury Bound, B. It was a good sequel, it was fine, but did it hit the way Direbound did? No. Quite an easy rank. B. Yesteryear. Loved this, cried at the end. It's an A for me. There are some like faults with it which I didn't really get into in my videos about it, particularly with like the representation of religion and Christianity. But it's still an A. I still really enjoyed it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I'd probably give it an A slash S if some of those elements were a little bit better. And it's probably one of my top reads of the year still, but we're giving it A. So Thrilled for You. This was really good. I love this. Absolutely consumed it in like 3 days. We're giving that a solid A. And then The Age of Diagnosis really blew my mind and changed my perspective on things when I expected to kind of disagree and hate it. So we're giving that an A as well. My Year of Rest and Relaxation, B. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Didn't have the most fun, so rated down for lack of fun. Then the Raven Scholar, this is S. This is comfortably in S. Bloody adored it, would 100% recommend it, and this just hits everything that I wanted from a fantasy mystery. Perfection. I know, like, objectively, it's probably not perfect and there's criticisms that could be made, but for me, perfect. I wish I could wipe my mind and read it again for the first time. I loved it so much. Then Tainted Can, audiobook, sequel to Dragon Rider. It was a C. Not quite as good as Dragon Rider, not terrible. Got a little bit bored in places. It was a super long audiobook. We're giving it a C. Compound, really cool concept, really interesting. Loved the Love Island vibes, better than watching Love Island, but didn't quite execute as well as I thought it would, so we're giving it a B slash C. That's probably harsh, it's probably a B, but because my expectations were higher, it's a B slash C. The make believe Hannah Murray's lived experience of falling into psychosis and a wellness cult. What a wild ride. A. Total A, maybe even A slash S. The Poet Empress, beautiful story, really dark. A slash B. It probably deserves to sit in A, but it was so dark that I can't. That took out some of the fun. And I do think there's some improvements that could be made. So for that reason, A slash B. And then Heartstopper Volume 6 is the final book I've read this half of the year, and that's an A slash B. I think the rest of the series, like Solitaire for me is an S, all of Heartstopper and stuff is probably an A, but I think this fell a little bit flat at the end, probably because we've had the TV show. We kind of already knew how it was going to end from the novella, so it was just kind of like a necessary thing that had to be done. Don't think anything that happened was a surprise. But I love the series, love Alice Oseman, so it still has to be half A. So A/B. Oh, God, that was very fast talking. Let me know what you thought of some of these books in the comments. Tell me where I'm wrong and where I get it right. And if you think I'm totally crazy for some of these rankings, you'd probably be right because this was just a snap judgment without much thought. Subscribe and follow along to see what I read in the next half of the year, and I will add the rest of the books I read to this table, and we'll see what books come out on top as my favourite books of the year. Hopefully, we can find another couple of S tiers. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, obviously, please, and go follow me on Instagram. I'm going to try and post a bit more on there. I have plans, important plans. You'll have to go follow to see. Thanks for watching. Bye!